Let's get over here to get started. All right, guys. All right. Good morning, all you difference makers out there, chief expansion officers of your own companies. Welcome to our Difference Makers morning call, embracing all lines of sponsorship within our Enagic family. We are grateful for this call started by our dear friend and biggest difference maker, Sam Michaels, for the purpose of encouraging us to believe in ourselves and to build a successful Enagic business. The thoughts, ideas, and expressions on this call are by third-party, independent Enagic distributors. They are not the views of Enagic USA. For a complete list of rules and compliance matters, please visit Enagic.com. Remember, whatever is said pertaining to Kangen Water must not be taken as a health or medical claim. We make no such claims. Kangen Water does not treat, diagnose, or cure anything. Bodies heal themselves when given the proper tools, and Kangen Water simply empowers the immune system, helps the body to remove acid waste, reduce oxidation on a cellular level, and assist the body to do what it's intended to do, which is heal itself. And with that, good morning, Sam. How are you this morning, sir?
Good morning, Wade. I'm doing fantastic, and how are you doing?
Excellent, buddy. Excellent. I'm wound up for sound. I'm ready. This is one of my most favorite days of the month. I always love having Lynn on, and so I'm excited this morning, buddy.
Well, I am too, and if you need to call your people in your group, let them know Lynn is on, and they'll be getting ready to take some fast notes, because Lynn always comes with the word to inspire us and help us have a better day, a better life. And the couple of things I'm going to talk about this morning, I couldn't help but think about Lynn going over them, but if I really wanted to be happy, I would take time to think through important decisions. Swift decisions are not sure most times. So, you can't help but think about Lynn. We are wise to recognize that it takes only a few moments to weigh the potential consequences of a decision or to map out a plan that will bring increased effectiveness, efficiency, or quality. A pause to think can lead to a conclusion. This is bad or this is better. Both conclusions, either to avoid a negative path or to follow a more positive one, create the potential for greater success and less future suffering. Don't let anyone place your happiness in jeopardy by rushing you to a decision before you're ready. Take your time and trust your instincts. You'll have the answer precisely when you need it. Pay as you go. If I really want to be happy, I would pay as I go. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. Romans 13:8. Reader's Digest once reprinted an article from Money Magazine entitled, "When Your War Gets Debt." In the middle of the article, there was a 2-page advertisement for a popular antidepressant. The irony of the placement of the ad may not have been intentional, but it conveyed a truth. Debt can be depressing. Almost nothing zaps joy like a stack of unpaid bills marked past due. Some debt is unavoidable, but most indebtedness is self-inflicted. A pay-as-you-go policy is the best way to get out of debt and stay out of debt, and the happiness of a debt-free life cannot be calculated. Happiness cannot be purchased. Avoid gossip. There is nothing that can't be made worse by telling, said Terence. Good news travels fast and bad news travels faster. For some reason, people are more willing to pass along the negative things they hear than the positive. In so doing, they lose out on the positive return, for everything we say comes back to us eventually. The road to true happiness paved with compliments and praise. Such words bring a smile to both the speaker and the hearer and encourage the hearts of both. The positive things you say can also establish your reputation as a person of integrity, winning you the trust, admiration, and respect of others. Positive words can create happiness around you. I was listening to something, re-listening with A.L. Williams this morning, and he really built his business on praise and encouragement, lifting people up. And, you continue to do that, and we do a lot of that. People want to be lifted up. You don't have to fuss at them or put them down. They'll join the party sooner or later and join the team, or they'll either leave, they'll fill out a place, as he said. So that's one thing we constantly want to do, is be building people up. Paul J. Mayer I've been talking about recently. I'm going to read one thing about time management. He was famous. He literally got more done in a day than most people could get done in 1 or 2 weeks, even top executives. His life is such a masterful life of success. A picture of your time. Use a desk calendar, a pocket calendar, and a daily do list to keep track of activities that will lead to accomplishing your goals and achieving whatever is important to you. And, if your phone's working great for you, that's good, but I hear so many people say, they still need to write it down to a point. So do what's best for you. Note in your pocket calendar appointments, commitments, and plans for actions, steps to reach your goals. Using a pencil frees your memory for immediate concerns and provides assurance that you will not miss an appointment or overlook an important action. Keep a conference planner, a sheet or folder for each person you consult frequently. Note items to be discussed. And, we can do that in our ER back office and RIs. Keep notes, especially when you're talking to people, if you're not quite sure what you talked about last time. When several items have accumulated, take care of all at one time. Eliminate the waste of several conference or phone calls. In your personal calendar, list events which you may take advantage of: shows, exhibits, folk festivals, movies, any kind of enrichment or entertainment that will benefit you and your family or get you in a business activity. Schedule your business to include these activities. Planning conserves more time than it uses and gives you a sense of satisfaction and well-being. And, we can all learn from Paul. He's sent his wife flowers every week for 37 years. Friday night was date night. Stayed in touch with all of his children and grandchildren, and still, he's the guy that started Success Motivational Institute. And some call him the godfather of self-improvement and health. Wrote 28 courses and 20 books. And, to hear Darren interviewing him, Wade, it's like no big deal if you control your time. So I'm really trying harder and harder to watch every minute, 3 minutes here and 10 minutes there and whatever, and then your day is gone. So we can all watch our time management more and do better. So let's bring Lynn out for an exciting call, Wade.
All right, that's wonderful, Sam. That planning saves more time than it takes to plan it. I love that, and isn't that so true? If we can put that in a planner. Well, man, guys, today I am so excited. As always, this is absolutely one of my favorite speakers of all month. Lynn, I know you're like, oh, geez, Wade.
I am.
It is absolutely true. I always look forward to this day. Lynn, I'm so happy to have you on this morning. How are you this morning?
You know what? I couldn't be better. It's absolutely fabulous. It's a beautiful day in Virginia, and I'm just honored to be back on. It's so funny when time flies. It seems like it was just last week when I was on the call, but it's always such a pleasure to be on this side of the call. And thank you, Sam, for that great message this morning. I needed to hear that one today. Over the past week or so, my focus has been concentrated pretty much on one message theme. And as Valentine's Day approaches, it's very fitting. So that's the inspiration for the message today. We see a ton of emotions surrounding Valentine's Day, and a ton of dollars will be spent to target those emotions. In fact, the National Retail Federation says that it's expected to top over $18.2 billion. Can you imagine that? On the flowers and the candy and the cards. That's actually an average of $136.57 per person. No doubt some emotions will be stemmed from long stem roses we'll get right, and some emotions will be triggered by the fact that some people don't have a sweetheart at all. It always it makes me laugh because I'll hear from my single friends, and they're like, they get all emotional because they're spending Valentine's Day alone, and that's why the dating sites will soar. You'll see all kinds of ads driven around holidays, all because of emotions. You know, the study of emotions is an interesting quest, especially when it comes to relationships between men and women. You know, we know that Men Are From Mars and Women From Venus book, right? That was very popular, probably still is very popular, because it explains the difference between us, the emotional differences between us. It doesn't say that only women have emotions, men don't. We all have emotion, right? And there's a difference between us. You know, men get hit with conflict, for instance, and what do? Most of them will go out and sulk and, you know, go to a man cave or try to get away from the situation. You know, they want to disengage, while women get right in your face and say, wait a minute, we need to talk this out. There's all kinds of differences between us, right, with emotions, and there's no way around dealing with emotions in life, not in relationships, not in our families, not in our walk with our faith, and certainly not in our business. You know, since we are in the people business, it's vitally important that we understand the dynamics if we want to see success, the emotional side of dealing with people. Because people are emotional creatures. No matter how much logical sense we try to paint into our sales process, it always comes down to emotions. It always has, and it always will. You know, it's been a way long time since I was first Dale Carnegie trained and then went on to be a Dale Carnegie trainer. And although a lot of those practices were put in place within me a long time ago, and they become second nature in many ways, there are still some nuggets that are worth revisiting, and one that I needed to hear for myself. And I want you to listen very carefully to this quote. In fact, you probably want to think about maybe typing it out and putting it on your office wall, because it's a game changer, and it's a critical reminder for all of us in our business and with every relationship in our life. And it goes like this: when dealing with people, let us remember we are not dealing with creatures of logic. We're dealing with creatures of emotion. In fact, it goes on to say creatures bristling with prejudices and motivated by pride and vanity. Wow, right? You know, when you think about who are we really dealing with, sometimes we do need that reminder. When dealing with people, let us remember we're not dealing with creatures of logic, we're dealing with creatures of emotion. From Dale Carnegie. You know, it's easy to see what happens when we turn to in any relationship, you know, whether it's our mate or our children, our friends, or prospects, when we address them with logic instead of working within the emotions. It's a train wreck every time. You know, for instance, guys, if you've ever found yourself, you know, not being able to purchase those flowers and candies and all the things for your sweetheart, don't make the mistake of sitting down with your bank statement and trying to logically explain why you're empty-handed. You can be much better off with a little hug and telling her you wish you could buy her the world. Logic leads to a train wreck every time. You know, if we want to see positive results in our relationships and in our business, you know, we have to remember we're dealing with creatures of emotion. When we remember this critical point, our actions will follow suit. People buy based on emotion, not logic. You know, you can turn to any commercial for any product on the market, and if you just step outside, you know, and just look at that commercial for what it is, watch and listen very carefully, you'll see that every single ad that you watch is driven to instill emotion. You know, without it, whether it's excitement, whether it's happiness or relief to find a solution. Now, some even are designed to instill fear, which of course is an emotion. It doesn't really matter. Logic doesn't come into the decision at all. It never has, and it never will. When you consider that, I want you to think about how you're working your business. You know, how are you presenting this business, and how are you presenting our products to other people? It's probably not the way it was presented to you in the first place. You know, you've heard me say before, and you'll definitely hear it again, you know, the intent of a demo in our world should be to dazzle the audience enough to prompt that emotional response. It's not intended to be an educational forum. You know, so many people are addressing prospects or their audience with logic, because on this side of the transaction, that's what we think. We think logic, but that's not where they are. They're not working on the emotions at all. So rest assured, when our leaders first stepped out into the business with a little bottle of pH drops and a picture of a colon, they soared on the emotions, not on the logic. They didn't even know what we know, right? And ignorance is definitely bliss sometimes. They went out there with emotion and excitement, and it was contagious. We're not in the educational business, although there's a big part of the, you know, that process to educate people that we do, no doubt about that. But we're not in the educational business. We're in the business of changing the lives of emotional creatures. So if that's the goal, there's no way around and no excuse big enough to justify trying to teach them with logic when they're emotional creatures. It's as if we think that, the more we talk, the more we share, the more, products we throw into a demo, that their decision will be a no-brainer and they'll finally get it. But when we focus on the science and we demo everything imaginable, we're assuming that we're dealing with creatures of logic, not creatures of emotion. Next time you go into Costco, if you are a member there, watch one of those demonstrations going on. What will draw your attention is the excitement of the person doing the demonstration. And a lot of times you'll just stop because it's entertaining, right? You stop and you observe and eventually you start saying, I could probably use one of those things. They're dealing with your emotions. They're trying to paint a picture. It's dazzling. It's exciting. And while they instill emotions that, surround the purchase, if you will, we can feel it. It could be more, it's so powerful, if you just stop and when you go there next time and see what they're trying to do. Here's a good example of what I'm trying to get across for our business. I was last week looking on Facebook, and Tamia was out there with a post about a demonstration they had in New York. Well, no doubt, Tamia's excited, right? And it's contagious. She instills every emotion within us that she can possibly instill. And that is why, by the way, she's one of our most popular presenters. Because when you're in the room with Tamia, you cannot help but get excited. It's not possible. But I want to ask you, when's the last time you heard Tamia talk about the properties of the water? So you might think, well, she's so successful, she's a great communicator, she's excited. How come she's not focused on just the properties of the water? Because that's logic. When's the last time you saw Tamia even do a demonstration? I hope you don't think she's not capable of doing a demo. She's a powerhouse. She can do anything she's inclined to do. I wasn't at that meeting, obviously, but I do know a couple things. Number one, the weather outside was horrific. It was just torrential rain, right? And yet the room was completely packed out. Tamia shared that people actually bought devices on the spot. And by the way, that's not uncommon at all in her meetings for people to buy right then. One person actually schlepped their unit, $4,000 or $5,000, whatever they spent, on the train in that horrific weather. They couldn't wait to get that thing home and hooked up. Why did that happen, right? It's because it's emotion. When's the last time you had a demo and people actually bought on the spot? Right? Emotion kicked in. Again, I wasn't there, but I can almost guarantee that if there was a demo at all, it was very short and very sweet, just enough to dazzle and to drive home those emotions. And the end result of that one meeting is confirmation. People always buy based on emotions. You get them there and you share your excitement, and that's what's contagious. Forbes magazine said this: the vast majority of prospects buy based on emotion, not logic. So the better you are at making an emotional connection between the prospect and whatever you're selling, the easier you'll find the closed sale. Your job as a salesperson is to help prospects see the benefits that they'll gain from owning your product. So we're always going back to emotion. So if we're talking about the business, we need to be excited about the business. If you're not excited, you need to go back to the drawing board. If something has discouraged you, if you're stumbling around a little bit, if you never had that excitement, that contagious kind of excitement, go back to square one. You need to find it. If you are excited and it doesn't show for whatever reason, you need to work on you, make it show. You're talking to somebody that, was afraid of her own shadow. I overcame my fear, and look at what I do today. Anything's possible if you want to work on you and you want to change those things. I've had people that I trained over the years that I said, you have got to get in front of a mirror and look at yourself when you're speaking the words. You have to see that you're not conveying what you're feeling inside. But I can pretty much bet on something. I bet if you bought a winning lottery ticket and you found those numbers and it was $1 bazillion, man, we'd see excitement in you. It's possible for you. You just got to learn how to reflect it. It's our excitement that will likely instill those emotions within other people, and it will prompt them to get on board with what we have. Long before they see all the details of a comp plan, long before they know every property of the water or really understand it, excitement is the key. We've heard it a million times, and sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. Facts tell, stories sell. Why is that? Because facts are just facts, folks, and stories hit them at the emotional level. Entrepreneur magazine had this to say: people like to feel loved cared for, and important. Well, I know I sure do, and that's definitely the hidden message behind Valentine's Day, right? People like to feel loved, cared for, and important. And yes, guys, that goes for you too. They want to believe that they are more than just a cog in the wheel, and that their needs and their opinions actually count. Therein lies the opportunity to take aim at the heart before trying to convince the brain. Learn to add value to their lives rather than just pushing your own agenda in an attempt to sell them. Great quote that, again, that's something we probably should post. We have countless examples all around us. And, again, if you look at the advertising world, you may not even be aware of how you respond emotionally and what's behind your own purchases. So here's a couple examples. For instance, women. I'll tell you what, we see beauty products on somebody else, and we never think, well, but she's 40 years younger than I am. We see beauty products on somebody else. She demonstrates it right up, and the emotions kick in. We start thinking about what's possible for us. We see ourselves looking better because if those beauty products made her look like that, they'll work on me, right? The emotions kick in. We get excited. We don't ask to necessarily read all the labels, and we don't scientifically evaluate all the contents to try to figure out why that thing works. We see hope, we believe, and we buy based on emotions. Men, you're not off the hook either, right? You might see a commercial for a power tool or a piece of lawn equipment or whatever, and you see a man demonstrating this product with ease. Man, he's going at it, and it looks so easy with that piece of equipment. The emotions kick in, and you start seeing yourself effortlessly performing the very same task just like the guy demonstrating the device, right? You don't usually want to see a full parts list or run it by a mechanical engineer to evaluate it before you buy. You buy based on emotions. So, guys, you're not off the hook either. I was in the real estate auction business for a very long time, and some people like to think, oh, fire sale, cheap prices, giveaway. Nothing could be farther from my world, I can tell you. No doubt I had the blessing of selling, for the most part, very nice properties, sometimes multi-million-dollar properties, But it was the marketing behind the properties and the picture that I painted and the ads and all those marketing attempts to trigger emotions, to try to get people to visualize what it would be like to own that property. There is a whole lot of time for people to think and to be logical when it comes to buying at auction, right? Some people get caught up in the emotions of it as they bid, and logic goes by the wayside. And even those people who bid much higher than they said they would, the people that said, I am never going to spend another penny over this, they end up spending more, and they justify their actions and the investment after the sale every single time. By the way, the same is true when I'm selling my faith. If you want to call it selling, I call it selling, right? I can share facts and figures and quotes. I can sit there and go through lineage until you turn blue and the cows come home. But it's not the logic that will strike the one I'm talking to. In fact, until people come to my faith, there's not a whole lot of logic in it at all, right? They don't see any, it doesn't look logical to them. It's the emotion that reaches them. It's sharing with them how my life has changed. It's sharing what my faith means to me with excitement and conviction. It's painting the picture of what's possible for them. That's what inspires people toward my faith. Facts tell, stories sell. Excitement is contagious, and coming to faith is an emotional decision and not one that will ever be based on logic. So why would we share our faith from a logical standpoint, and instead of just saying, go read all this and go through timelines and lineage and try to sell them? Why do we do that? Because it's always emotion. I wasn't around, again, when our company first launched, and those leaders that I mentioned had pH drops and a picture of a colon. And we laugh at that. It seems kind of funny to go on with just that, right, from where we sit today. But it's certainly not true that we needed to improve everything and expand it upon everything. These leaders hit the road with excitement, and the results speak for themselves. And, if you've ever heard the stories behind most of the top leaders in our business, there was always something driving them, right? It was hope to change their finances, to recover their lives, to whatever. You really don't hear them talking a lot about, well, I had this disease and it's gone. No. They saw the potential, and the excitement was contagious. contagious. Not only was or is their excitement contagious, but they kept it simple, right? They showed just a few examples, pH drops and to wow them, and that will wow, anybody, right? Just with the pH drops. And they saw a before and after colon to inspire them emotions, and frankly, that was a little bit of fear selling. You wonder why we rarely see the kind of massive growth that we hear about these leaders having. Do you ever wonder that? We see it a little bit. There are some people out there moving and shaking, and some of the younger people working the internet, right? But we rarely hear about new leaders that have the same kind of growth. We certainly haven't hit market saturation. We haven't even begun to take off yet. What the difference is we have complicated things and we've muddled our message. We lack that excitement because we're relying on facts. Because we get caught up in the science and the show and tell, and we forget all about the fact that we're dealing with emotional creatures. So how do we reach their emotions? Well, again, it goes back down to the basics. Another phrase that we hear all the time is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Do you really think we're able to relay a compassionate message, a message about how your life can change if we start out with telling them how much we know and don't show them how much we care? That tagline is indirectly saying that people will respond to you on the emotional level, not on the facts that you share. Facts are just facts. People know that we care when we show them we care. And showing them we care, by the way, is not, adopting them, That's not what we're talking about. It's about, taking the time to show them that we're going to ask the right questions and we want to know a little bit about their life, right? Words aren't enough. We need to build a relationship. And it's by asking those questions, showing sincere interest in them and in their lives, that we begin to address them at the emotional level, and we offer a solution for life. Give you just a simple example of something that just happened to me a couple of days ago. I went into, a local coffee shop, and really, yes, I went in to try to prospect, and I saw a lady there. She just looked so comfortable. She had her feet up on a chair, and she just seemed to be savoring this cup of coffee, and I commented on it. I said, well, you look all chilled. You really seem to be enjoying that cup of coffee. And she said, finally a break. And she starts talking about, running kids and her schedule and how nice it is just to, be able to sit back and relax a little bit, just to have a 10-minute cup of coffee, So we struck up a little conversation, and she brought up the weather, and I said, wow, the year's going by so fast, and pretty soon it's going to be summer. School's going to be out. Your whole life's going to change. Do you have a vacation planned? And when I said that, she said, what, are you crazy? No, I don't have a vacation. We haven't had a vacation in years. And I said, well, so that's sad. So what's been the problem, time or money? And she said, actually, both. And we just talked for just a couple of minutes later, and I said, you know what, I think I can help you with that. And she said, well, what do you want to, what is it? Well, of course I didn't tell her. I said, well, I just feel like I can help you with that. I'd like to spend some time, just a little bit of time, with you and your husband. Let's see if we can get your time and your money issues settled. You all need a vacation. You know what? She embraced it. It was hope. She looked at just those few words and like, wow, seriously? I mean, there might be some way for us to go on vacation. Why? Because it first started out with me looking at her saying, wow, you look so chilled out, like you're really enjoying that cup of coffee. She thought I cared, right? So that's what people respond to. When she said, well what is it? I didn't get out drops and start talking water. I never mentioned water at all. I just said, wow, I'd just really like to help you with that, with your time and your money. You need a vacation. And so imagine sitting here like you're chilled out now for a whole week somewhere. We need to talk. So, that's how we connect with people. The emotional connection is imperative to success. Excitement will instill emotion every single time. And people like to be around positive, excited people. Why would anybody want to get on board if we aren't excited, or if it doesn't show? Excitement, or the lack of excitement, by the way, is the biggest reason we can't get people to events or demos. If we aren't excited, why in the world they're going to be excited? It's so much simpler than we want to believe that it is. The only thing that changes in this whole message is what we promote, whether it's an event or it's a product or it's a business or it's a demo or it's our faith, even Valentine's, right? Excitement is contagious. For instance, word of mouth advertising is so powerful. Really, guys, that's the business that we're in, word of mouth advertising. If you have a great meal in a restaurant and you share that experience with your circle of friends, you tell them, oh my goodness, you got to go to this place. I had the best burger I've had in my life. You talk about it to your circle of friends. There could be a zillion bad reviews on the internet. Doesn't even matter, right? So what they want to hear from is that excitement. And you know what? They're usually going to go based on your excitement. No matter what. Their husband says, well, I saw the reviews. It doesn't matter. Lynn said it's the best burger. They're going to go based on your excitement. If they said, hey, did you check out that restaurant? I said, yeah. And I didn't have any excitement. Why would they ever go there? They go based on my excitement. When you see a great movie, you could see a movie somebody never even heard of, right? No trailers out there, nothing. But once you see it and you tell people, oh my goodness, you have got to see this movie. And you say that to your circle, right? Anybody that, that you come in contact with, most of your friends, even though they never heard of the movie, or there could be bad reviews about the movie, they're going to go see that movie based on your excitement. Your excitement hits them at the emotional level. And all that logic of reviews or whatever, that all goes by the wayside because your emotions are contagious. So why in the world would it be any different for our business? And people are still people. People are emotional creatures, and there's no way around it. So we need to stop dealing with them with logic. We need to reason with their emotions. Make that emotional connection instead. And the best part? People buy based on the emotions, but you know what? Once they're sold, they put the logic in the equation. In other words, they justify what they did. How many times have you heard somebody say, I know I shouldn't have spent the money, but it was on sale, right? The emotions kicked in. Sales are all about triggering emotions. And if you've ever studied retail, you would know that, the whole sale process is 110% about emotions. It's about getting you excited. Because you know what people do when they get excited, like with a sale? They buy more than one, or they spend more money. They'll say, well, I only spent, $30 on the shoes, so I can spend $100 on the suit. They'll justify it, right? They defend and they rationalize their decision all by themselves. And once they're sold emotionally, they make that happen. It's this whole process that is the reason that we have a right of redemption, in a sale process, in most states at least. If you buy real estate, go to the closing table, you still got a few days to get out, right? Because we know that it's not all logic. Some emotion might kick in and people say, wait a minute, what are we thinking? And so we have a right of redemption just for this reason, because people are emotional, right? But when they are sold emotionally, they will make it happen. We've all seen people made no rhyme or reason, they're like, they got sold emotionally and they didn't care what it took. They borrowed money from friends. They sold things to buy what we have. They did whatever they had to do. They were sold emotionally and they made it happen. You don't have to beat them over the head. You can't, I don't care how good you are, you can't close people on a sale just based on what you have in your head. They have to justify that emotionally on their own, and all the educational process will come after that. They end up telling you why they need the business or the products, right? They justify it on their own. So, are you using logic and hoping to hit the emotional button? And the answer is probably so. That's what we see broadly out there. We hear the leaders saying, get back to basics, get back to, it's like on a fast track where everything changed and all these new tools and all this stuff happened, right? But we need to get back down to basics. So I'm hoping that you'll consider this quote, then I'll share it with you one more time. When dealing with people, let us remember we are not dealing with creatures of logic. We're dealing with creatures of emotion, creatures bristling with prejudices and motivated by pride and vanity. So putting the words from Dale Carnegie into play will be a game changer in your business and in your life. If we're in the people business, it's important to understand how they're wired. They're not ever going to be wired on logic, no matter how much logic you have to share with them, but they're wired on emotions. If you think about our mission statement, I just can't say how much I love this enough, but spreading true health globally with compassion. What is compassion? Well, compassion is defined as an emotional response. That's emotions. Not spreading true health globally with education, not spreading true health globally with facts and figures, not spreading true health globally by doing demos. It's with compassion. That's an emotion. We're not dealing with creatures of logic. Logic may kick in, again, after we've sold them at the emotional level. They'll get logical, making it happen, right? But they'll eventually need all this education that we're trying to give them before they're emotionally engaged. It's the emotions that will drive the logic every single time. So are you approaching your business with logic? Are you working hard to connect at the emotional level before you kick into the logic, or are you doing the reverse of that? Are you trying to go out and educate them and then hope that educational process will make them, inspire them to buy? Do you scratch your head and wonder why people don't get it? I mean, we hear that all the time. I did this and we did that, and they just don't get it. Well, they don't get it because they're not emotionally engaged yet. The connection hasn't been made yet. Perhaps it all comes down to you and your approach, and not necessarily with a lot of clueless people out there. Maybe you haven't hit them at that emotional level. Maybe you haven't even tried to. Maybe you've done a great job trying to educate them. You've given them 5,000 reasons why they should do what you did, right? And you just keep going and keep adding stuff to it because they didn't get it yet, right? But you never hit the biggest part of the equation, the emotions that prompt people to buy. So, there's no way around it. On this Valentine's Day, you can see emotions soaring, whether people emotional because they got, gifts from their sweetheart, some because they didn't get any gift at all, some because they couldn't buy the gift. You're going to see emotions going out everywhere, right? We cannot deny the fact that God wired human beings to be emotional creatures. We're the only thing He ever created that has those emotions. And there's no way around it, no matter how logical your brain works. There is no way around the fact that we're not dealing with people of logic. We're dealing with people of emotions. So I hope that resonates with you, and I hope that just the whole Valentine's message will, make you think about this message. It's a game changer for you, if you can just wrap your head around it. And, change isn't always easy. Maybe you've gone down that logical track. We all did. I did, okay, until I reminded myself of what I already knew. Maybe change isn't easy to say, wait a minute, this isn't working. For some people that I coach, I'll say, as they're doing demos and they're doing, taking these efforts to educate people, I'll say, is it working? And they'll say, well, yeah, people love the demo. Well, okay, they love the demo, but are they actually moving forward? Are they actually doing what you see in Tamia's demos, buying on the spot? Do you even know? Have you ever done stats to say, okay, this many people show up, this many people came back, this many people bought? And if you did that, you'd probably be shocked at what you're not seeing as a result of all the logic that you're putting out there. So I hope, again, that this will resonate. I know I got some emotions fired out there, probably people I stepped on their toes. But, Dale Carnegie, it was a great trainer, and that's a great quote. And if we just think about human beings and how we're divinely made and how we are emotional creatures, I think you'll get it yourself. So that's it for me, Wade.
Wow, Lynn. I was just sitting here thinking, I couldn't get my boots on quick enough. You took my shins, my feet, my toes.
Sorry about that.
I need to listen to this call every day before I go out the door because, you know what, I'm that logic guy, right?
Right,
I wonder why.
Right.
And I mean, guys, this is probably some of the absolute best advice I've heard in the years that I've been in an educ.
Wow. Not
an education business, this is an emotion business. And, man,
exactly.
You hit it, beyond the park, honey. You hit my truck parked up a mile.
Well, just remember, I love you, okay? I don't want it to be painful.
And, it's all in love, and I take it that way, too. And so that is so awesome. Well, we have difference makers popping their hand up. Sam, do you want to say anything before we go to difference makers, or you want me or do you want to come back at the end again, buddy?
Yeah, excuse me. I'm with you, Wade. Boy, that's what I needed to hear. I tell you, I got probably one of the best stories in the whole Enagic world, and I've got so telling it, I think, of the excitement. And I'm like you. I was just feeling joyful and uncomfortable too, Lynn. You always get on their toes, which is good, but I definitely will change again. You get in a rut. I was in a company one time with a guy that was actually selling water filters. We had a video, Cool Clear Water by Rex Allen, and man, this guy 5 years later would get as excited, sat on that front row and jump up and down, and the rest of us were bored, and he kept selling more machines, and that excitement, when I tell my story properly, it's 90% done. So, and I'm as guilty as anybody, Lynn, of getting off track. And
yeah.
as excited as I usually am. So thank you so much, and back to you, Wade.
Beautiful. Do you mind taking some questions?
Not at all.
Right,
Not at all.
Let's start off with Carol. She's in the hospital. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Wade. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Difference Makers. I was in and out the call because where I am, I had to keep hanging up and redialing back in. I didn't get the guest speaker's name.
Oh,
it's Lynn.
Lynn.
Oh, hi. How you doing? That was
hi.
what I did here was the best advice I've heard in a long time. And just to give us a short story. I'm in the hospital, and my youngest son was here visiting with me, and I was telling him about the water and what it has done for me. And it's and I said I started out with 8.5, and my newest business partner, my newest rising star, name is Cynthia. I'm telling my son about 8.5. And when I first told him about it, he says, "No, Mom, I'm not going to put anything in my body that I'm not familiar with." Well, as soon as I told him about the 8.5 water, in she walks with 2 bottles of 8.5 water. And he actually tried it.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
I was so amazed. And so I listened to you about approaching people on an emotional level, and I'm wondering if I'm doing that. I like to educate people on, facts and
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Excuse me for interrupting you, because that's human nature. Because what we do is we get on this side of the transaction. Again, you probably didn't buy because people threw science at you. But when we get on this side of the transaction, we feel like, well, now that I know all the stuff, if I just tell them more stuff, then we'll be more inclined to buy. They'll be educated consumers, right? But we're not wired that way.
And I tell them my story about, where I was when I first started drinking the water. And I do see a difference in that approach, telling them, what it has done for me. And I believe that's the reason my newest business associate, when I told her, this is what got her attention.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, because that's so true. And, from my friends of faith out there, I can remember, man, I just ran from the truth for 30-some years, right? And I would meet these people that just looked like their dog died. There was nothing happy about them, and they just started beating me over the head. And they caused me to run. They didn't cause me to run in the right direction, right? Because I think, well, what's the big deal? You're not happy. You look like your best friend died. It's
right.
important in every area of our life.
Man, that is so good. All right, let's go to Jim. Hey, Carol, hope you get feeling better right away, honey. I can hear the beeping going on in the background. All right, let's go to Jim.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's just everything you said was so right on target. What got me about this whole talk, I wrote everything down. Couldn't write fast enough. You talk too fast.
The auctioneer in me, right?
Yeah, I know. But I love that story about the lady that wherever it was, you walked by and she's sitting there drinking a cup of coffee. And I got to thinking about that, because everybody that I have sold to, I didn't sell it to them. They bought out of emotion, because I've gotten hung up on, I got to tell them everything, or I think I got to, or I try and educate them. And I've actually been doing a lot of that. And I just decided that ain't working. I'm going to quit doing that. This little story that you just told and the interaction, I could almost see you getting involved in that lady, and because you're that type of person, and how that you actually showed that lady you're interested in her.
Right.
And when you ask that question, well, what is it, money or time, or how come you ain't took a vacation? And that's what that woman wanted.
Yeah.
And
that's what you want.
Well,
and when I excuse me for interrupting you, but when I said that's so sad, you haven't been on a vacation. I could say, I never take time off for myself, so I haven't been on. No. I had to get the emotional connection and say, that is so sad.
Well, that,
I think I can help you.
Down. You know, I wrote that story while you were talking, what you said, and I'm gonna read that about every day, because that really put a trigger in my mind, because I need to go back to what I was doing instead of trying to educate the world. They can learn on their own. But I really appreciate.
That's the danger of it. See, there's can be, danger in knowledge, right? Because we learn more, we want to tell more. We learn more, we want to share more. But that doesn't work. It's the emotions that we need to work on.
Well, you sure worked on mine.
Well, I'm glad you're still talking to me. I hope it helps you in your journey.
Excellent, Jim. That's so good. All right, let's go to John. Good morning, John. How are you this morning?
I'm doing wonderful, Wade. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
This is just awesome, and this is the business we're in. We're in the relationship business. This is not selling machines. Sometimes I think we get so excited about the information about the water and what it's done for me and what's done for my family and friends, and we get excited and we want to share that with people.
Right.
But how do we know what's going on with someone's life unless we ask questions and develop a relationship? And it just sort of gets back to a little thing I remember from what Don Prosser talked about Mr. Oshiro. He said that don't sell machines, sell the dream.
Right.
That's why we're here. And there's so much to learn about this water and how it affects our bodies, and we know that. The people that buy machines, we know, like you said, after we buy on emotion, our logic kicks in and we justify why we bought the machine. But we bought it because it was important for our emotional state.
Exactly.
And to get back to your point, I mean, it's like you didn't even tell the lady about the machine at all or the water. You were invested in her. You're totally invested in her.
110%, and it's taken a lot of work for me to get back to the things I already knew and forgot as I learned more, right? Because she's sitting there with her coffee, and I forgot to mention, and she's got a bottle of water. So back in the old days, I would say, "What are you drinking?" I'd strike up a conversation about that stinking bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? No, no. I didn't care what she was drinking. Could have been whiskey. I didn't care. I didn't care what she was drinking. I cared to find out what are her triggers. Here's this woman trying to get just a few minutes of peace in a very busy life. And you know what? We can pretty much look anywhere. I say this all the time. The older I get, the busier we are. I mean, it's like things are pulling at us from, having a phone in our hand 24/7. We all are struggling to find that time and peace. And so, I didn't bring it up. In the old days, we'd be talking about that water, and she'd glaze over, and I'd never get her to answer my call again.
Next. It becomes a numbers game instead of actually really getting involved and finding out what's important to somebody else.
Exactly. And relating, and I was excited. I think I can help you.
Exactly.
It took a lot of self-control.
Right. And she feels your passion. Your passion comes up, and then she feels your passion. It's a feeling business.
And what will she say to her husband? She won't say, "Oh, this woman talked to me about water," or maybe this bit. No, she'll say to her, "I met this really nice lady at the coffee shop. I have no idea why she wants to come over here, but she was really nice, and she seemed compassionate, and let's have her over." That's what she'll do.
Exactly. Thank you so much. What a right-on message for this week and
Thank you.
Forever. It's the fundamentals, and feeling is fundamental.
Active basics, you betcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, let's go to Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Wade, good morning. Lynn, I mean, goodness. Last month you got on a call, and I was still talking about your call just a couple of weeks ago, and then now you come back this week and you baffle me again. It's just like this lady here. You just, the wisdom that you have the wisdom that you have and everything is just, you know, how you can take things and put it into perspective. And actually, when I was talking to my sister, we was talking, and she said, "Oh yeah, she's a high pepper." She has.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So we just appreciate you. It's just, you know, to be able to take this and build upon it, and to be able to get it into our lives, to make it go. How do we move forward with the information? Basically, you know, okay, logic instead of, emotions instead of logic, because you know that this is what we are all doing, because we're so excited. We know what it has done for us, and we go up and we just spill out everything. So, you know, I really appreciate it. So
we're all doing it. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you for your encouragement. You know, you never know. I go from the 3 little pigs to, logic, right?
Yeah,
you never know with me. Yeah, thank you so much. You blessed me today. I appreciate that. But yeah, we are all doing it. It's out of control. I wasn't here in the beginning, but I can look at it now and say we are completely out of control. Completely. And so out of tune. We doing these demos, and they're remarkable. I mean, believe me, I'm not judging the people doing long demos. Everyone I see is just it's remarkable what a job they do and the education they do, but it's not coming together with the emotions.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. Let's go to Nakima and then Jillian next. Nakima.
Good morning, Miss Lynn.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to meet you. I cannot wait to meet you.
I can't wait.
You always bring such amazing information. But what I'm hearing when I listen to you, I'm hearing a professional. I'm hearing a person who understands what she is doing. It's kind of like a doctor who knows, doctors, they learn about the entire body, but then they specialize in only one particular area. That's not what I hear here. I hear you with your high-yielding questions. I hear you building the relationship. I'm hearing all the things, all the parts coming together in that one short interaction that you had. So I can't wait to meet you, because that's what professionalism is. Professionalism is knowing it's not just one part. Like I'm hearing you saying, yes, you're talking about emotion, about that piece, but I'm hearing building relationships. I'm hearing high-yielding questions. I'm hearing all the things that a professional will be able to identify in a short period of time. So I think this is just amazing, what you're talking about, and I can't wait to meet you, girl. Ooh.
I can't wait. It's right around the corner, too, right?
Yes, it is. So
I can't wait.
Thank you so very much for what you're bringing. Thank you so very much. It was awesome.
Thank you. I look forward to your blessing to me. Thank you. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks, Nakima. All right, let's go to Miss Jillian. Hey, Jillian.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I really, really enjoyed this today, Lynn. Thank you so very much for reminding us how important the emotion was. I just wanted to share kind of a funny story that happened to me a few years ago. My husband does income taxes, and I help him in the office and do the computer work and stuff. And we were with a client, and we have a display for the water brochures and stuff set up on the shelf there, the bookcase. And, managed to turn the conversation to water. And, we were going on, and I was doing most of the talking because the water is really my baby. Taxes is his.
Right.
But we were talking, and all of a sudden, the client turns to my husband, and he looks at him, and he says, "You are so lucky." And he's, we looked at him really funny, and he says, "Most women get excited about diamonds and clothes and presents. Your wife gets excited about water."
That's awesome. I love that.
I wanted to share that. I thought it was really kind of fun.
It's awesome. Thanks for sharing. I love that story.
That was funny, Jillian. That's good. All right, let's go to Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good, thank you. And if I may ask Carol's address, I don't know if she's got an address there in the hospital or a home number, if she can come back and give us an address And then I'll give her our conference call number that she can call for prayer half hour before this call. And that is area code 641-715-3680. Again, area code 641-715-3680. And it has a PIN number of 562-777-pound. Again, that's 562-777-pound. And any address for Carol that the difference makers can send Lynn's love to her would be greatly appreciated.
Tom, what time's your call again?
Half hour before our scheduled call. So this morning, it's 6 o'clock my time now. I get confused at what time zones people are in. So for me, it starts at 4:30 in the morning, Monday to Thursday, and on Fridays it starts at 3:30 before Lem's call. My time here in Alaska, which is 4 hours difference in Eastern Standard Time.
Excellent. All right, buddy. 30 minutes before the call, let's go to Carol's got her hand up. So let me get Carol's address. Hey, Carol, you there?
Yes, I am.
Do you want to give your address, honey? And then I still got another caller that I want to get to as we close out the call.
Okay. The address to the hospital?
Yeah.
It's so I know how to get here. I know it. I've been coming here a couple of years, and it's like the number of the hospital. I'm probably going to be discharged today.
What's your home address then, honey? What's your home address?
Okay, it's 34 Highland Avenue, apartment 5A, Yonkers, New York, 10705.
Say it all again.
34 Highland, Highland, one word, Avenue, apartment 5A, Yonkers, New York, 10705.
Excellent. Hope you get out of there quick, honey. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, let's go to Juanita. Last caller of the day. Juanita?
Great. Thank you so much, Wade. Good morning. All you wonderful difference makers, and Lynn, sister.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. I come from the same mold as you years back when we definitely, it was facts tell and stories sell. You know, and I think we as a group, as an Enagic nation, we've gotten away from that, and we've been so afraid that we're going to disclose or do a medical, my testimony is my testimony. It's not a medical claim. Sam's testimony is his testimony, not a medical claim. And the bottom line is that we have so much here to be thankful for, and we need to share Mr. Urshua's, dream. This it isn't about somebody's team, somebody's group, somebody's whatever. It's about the movement that our nation needs. And I wish this call could go on through tomorrow, that you could come back. We're very, very soon, because, God gave us, those emotions, and they're okay to have. Mine are different than yours and Tom's and Sam's. Yet he gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And as we listen to people's hearts, we will be able to hit the soft spot. Who would have ever known the lady laying on the couch hasn't had a vacation? Who would have known that Carol, listen to her voice. You would never think that she was in the hospital.
Right.
I had the privilege this morning in our prayer group to meet Cynthia, her rising star, and oh my Lord. Thank you, God, for coordinating this family, and that, we have a message. Right. And we need to get that out in what other best way. I don't care what you got in your car, or if you even, I don't have a car. I don't have a mobile. I've gone from homeless to heaven. You've heard my story personally. Right. So thank you so much, Lynn. I just love you and the words that God put on your heart and in the difference makers. So we are one body. We're members in particular. We're not all the hands. We're not all the feet. We're not all the uncomely parts are very important as well. So thank you for bringing that out in us.
Oh, it's a blessing. Thank you for sharing your heart. And you're right. It all works together. You know, all of us are important to the whole equation, and our emotions were God inspired. And so thank you for that today.
Thank you, Juanita. All right, Lynn, a couple things as we're closing out the call. First off, thank you so much for being here. Thank
My pleasure.
For this. And so I know people are going to want to know, how do we get more Lynn? How do we get to see Lynn?
Well, I don't know what to tell them. Once a month I'm here. You know, I'm going to be in Louisiana for the Cajun Conference here coming up the 23rd and 24th. It's going to be exciting time. So anybody in the South, you know, make the commitment, get in the car. I'll be one of them. I'm so honored. It's like I get to share the stage with my heroes, right? So that's going to be good. You know, so here I am. I'm here to serve, and I love to serve. I just feel like it's part of, we each have something to bring to the table. This is just a tiny little thing I can bring to the table, and I'm always happy to share.
So that's what I was looking for. You're headed to Louisiana doing the Cajun Conference, the 23rd, 24th. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Right.
Also,
right.
YouTube channel, right?
I have a YouTube channel. That's Lynn Gardner and Najik Congan. So if you just type in youtube.com/Lynn Gardner and Najik Congan, and I do upload training videos. So if you follow that site, you'll get notified as they're uploaded. I don't know, I have 80 or 90, I think, videos up there now that people can listen to. You bet. I'm on Facebook, and I do a lot of my faith stuff there, a little bit of business, but a lot of faith stuff. And by the way, that's what I've been called to do. But when you're using things like social media, people want to come to people they relate to. And so even though I'm talking up my faith an awful lot, a lot of people come to me for the solution because they see my heart. So there's always a good platform. You know, there's no such thing as a bad place to share your faith and be who you really are, right?
Amen. That's so good. Thank you, Lynn. That's what we're looking for, Lynn. It's been a pleasure. Sam, I know you want to come out and say something to Lynn. Lynn, it is so exciting for me always, every month. I look so forward to it. I wish I was headed to the Cajun Conference.
Me too.
We're going to meet here one of these.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to make that happen. And thank you for being a blessing to me and such an encourager. I appreciate you, Wade.
Thank you. All right, Sam.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Another fabulous call. You always speak from the heart, and it goes right through to other people's hearts. Thanks for all the very emotional comments, and I'm sure there's many, many more. And I just thank God for the people. I was thinking back over almost 7 years, how many people's come and gone on the call, speakers and different ones. The Lord leads them another way. But what a great team we have now coming on like you, Lynn, and others. It's changing people's lives, and I'm like you. I'm in the ministry, but people have to live and have finances and all. It's just a wonderful way to do it all. Wade, what was Carolyn's last name? Wade, somebody text me. And
you know what? I missed that. She didn't say it. Dang it. I don't know what Carol's last name.
Well, okay, that's fine. They'll find out, or probably if they just put Carolyn in the address, it will go through. But anyway, Lynn, thanks a lot. Wade, thanks for all you do, and thanks for more and more difference makers speaking up from their heart. God bless everybody, and we'll be back in the morning, same time.
All right, guys.
Thank you for everything, Sam.
All right, I'm going to open it up for everybody to thank Lynn for being here. We'll talk to you all in the morning.
See you next month.
Thank you. Thank you.